Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 239, season 10. Today's date is July 23rd, 2023, and welcome to the program. Yes, I am back for another episode. I thought I wasn't going to do one, but here I am. So, on today's program, this will be two interesting topics. First, I will talk about radio voice actor Dick Orkin. You may not know his name, but you probably remember his character on the radio, Chickenman. Buck, 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 buck. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Anyway, I will talk about him, his biography, and about Chickenman. That was like a radio serial back in the 60s. Also, I will talk about the Ivanhoe Restaurant.Theater that was located in Chicago on the north side of Chicago. I'll talk about a little history of that, and it's very interesting. It was a very interesting place, back then. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Parquet Margarine. And this features former football player and actor Deacon Jones. And you may remember him back in the 70s. So sit back and relax. And after the commercial is over, I'll talk a little bit about him and the product. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
Butter. What? Butter. What? Butter.
Don't mess with me. You're Parquet Margarine.
Butter.
I said Parquet, come here.
Uh-oh.
You smooth? You're creamy. You taste like butter. You're butter.
Parquet. Sir?
Parquet margarine from Kraft. The flavor says
Butter.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Parquet Margarine with Deacon Jones. I'll talk a little bit about him and Parquet. Deacon Jones was a football player. He played for the LA Rams, the San Diego Chargers, and the Washington Redskins. And he was a very good player. And also, he was born in Eatonville, Florida, December 9th, 1938. And, and he started his college football career for a year in South Carolina State University in 1958. And then he resumed, then he skipped a year, and then he went to Mississippi Valley State University in 1960. He did that. And then he started playing in 1961. Yeah. So he played with the Rams for 10 years, from 61 to 71. Then he played for the Chargers for 1 year, and then he played the Redskins, very briefly. So, and then he got into acting. And, I never knew him because of football. I knew him because of television and the his acting, not football itself. So he played. So this is the TV shows he starred in. Like one, he was in The Odd Couple, and he was doing a commercial with Oscar Madison, played by Jack Klugman, selling shaving products. And also another famous episode, he was on the Brady Bunch. That if you're a Brady Bunch fanatic like me, I've seen every episode hundreds of times. I probably remember the dialogue. This is the one where Peter Brady was playing football and he was in the Glee Club, and his his co-players were making fun of him because he was singing. They call him a canary. I've been there myself. I know what it's like to be bullied. It's not a pleasant experience because of something you like to do. I won't go into that right now. And Deacon Jones appeared in that. And he said, "I sing. Does that make me a sissy or a canary?" And then the kids just backed off. And he realized, it's not nice to make fun of other kids because they're different and they want to do different things. Valuable lesson. Also, he was a guard at a giant's castle in Sam and the Beanstalk. That was in an episode of Bewitched, 1969. That's where Tabitha went into a storybook. She zapped herself in a storybook and she went to see the giant or to follow Jack, and Deacon Jones was there. And also he played one episode of Wonder Woman in 1978. I remember that. I got the show on DVD. He was good. Then he played in the movie Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty. I haven't seen that movie in ages, and I totally forgot about him. But yeah, he was in the movie. And then he got into broadcasting. Then he got into business and did that. And then let's see. So he also sang, and he did some singing, which was great. And then unfortunately he passed away on June 3rd, 2013. He was 74 years old. But he was a very charismatic person, in the football field and also in acting. Oh, God bless him. All right. And as for Parquet, that product's been around forever. It's introduced in 1937. It was called Oleo Margarine, not just margarine. They dropped the oleo part. And it was sold under the Kraft brand. What's famous about, and then it was sold to Nabisco in the 90s, and then to Conagra Foods, not Fools, in 1999. And it was heavily advertised on radio, on television, on the radio show The Great Gildersleeve, and then also but the most famous commercials are from on television that started in 1973 was when the tub of the Parquet margarine starts talking, and it says butter. And then at the end, he would say Parquet. The tagline would say Parquet margarine from Kraft. The flavor says butter. And there's so many on YouTube you can watch if you'd like, and it's hilarious. One famous commercial was, well, there were two. One is there was this Latino man. He starts laughing, and they said it in Spanish. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. Also, there was one where there were a bunch of kids, and they're yelling, "No, you're buttered." You start laughing, then they go Parquet, the things like that. But when they sold like little tubs, and then they had the big tubs. And I remember one actress, I think it was Rita Shaw. She would open the tub and he said butter real loud. So I've had Parquet. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's I haven't had it in ages, but I think it's one of the best margarines around. Besides like Blue Bonnet, what else? Imperial. They're all good. They're fine. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get started with the show. Before I get started, I want to mention one thing. Excuse me. On my YouTube channel, I had a comment from somebody. I did a podcast episode about Kathy McFarland. She did Newsbreak. She was an anchor woman back in the 70s or late 70s and early 80s. She did the news break late at night on Channel 32, and her nephew reached out to me. He listened to the podcast. And he said, she got into a bad accident on the S curve on the Lakeshore Drive. The S curve's gone, so thank God for that. And she was okay, but she had to recuperate. But he also said that what you did for her, a tribute to her, and the podcast was very loving and very touching. It was very nice what you did. And I said, then I replied, thank you, because I remember watching her, and so did everyone else, during that time, and unfortunately she passed away a long time ago. So, she was one of the most recognizable people on that station, WFLD TV, Channel 32. She did the news breaks like that. So it's nice. I love getting comments from people like that. You get bad ones too, but, those are trolls and, people like to nitpick. I ignore that. So that was very nice. Okay. All right. So now let's get started on the program. And right now I'm going to talk about radio voice actor Dick Orkin. Okay. So I totally forgot about him because I never listened to him when I was growing up because I was too young. So his name started with his biography. So he was born Richard Allen Orkin, born on July 9th, 1933. He was a commercial radio producer and voice actor, and he did a lot of radio advertisements, public service announcements. He was born in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and he also attended Yale Drama School, up in there in Connecticut. And then he started working in advertising in Chicago until in 1963, 60 years ago. Wow, a long time. And he also did radio commercials for Time Magazine, The Gap, other things like that. And he did co-wrote 2 animated specials for CBS. One was called Christmas Every Day and The Canterville Ghost. And and that was with Christine Coyle. That was another person, and they were the founders of Radio Ranch. And then one day, he created the series Chickenman, like that. And I'll get to Chickenman in a moment. So Chickenman was a radio series that spoofed and inspired by the 1960s TV series Batman, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I still watch it. I love it. It's on DVD. It looks gorgeous. It's on Blu-ray. Of course, it looks beautiful. And that was created in 1966 on radio station WCFL AM 1000. And then it ran from 1966 to 1969. And that series aired every day. It was like a soap opera. It was like a radio, and it was the ratings just shut up in the roof. It was just like wow. So in the series, it was like it's just like Superman. It reminds me of Underdog. Remember the cartoon? So in the series, you have a shoe salesman. His name is Benton Harbor, just like the city in Michigan. I'm glad it's not St. Joseph. And he was a shoe salesman at a large downtown department store, and the name of the town was Midland City. And he spent his weekends, like he was moonlighting as, fighting crime. And he was named Chickenman. And also he would hang around with the police commissioner's office, just like Commissioner Gordon on Batman. And also the commissioner's secretary, her name was Miss Hellfinger. And each episode started, Chickenman. And the first, it'd go, buck, 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 buck. Chicken Man. And then you heard some voices going, he's everywhere, he's everywhere. That became a very memorable catchphrase because everyone remembered it. And it repeated like in the beginning and it repeated at the end. Okay. Like that. And it was so funny. Like that. So Dick Orkin, created this character, and it's one thing. Also, and part of the cast was Jim Runyon. He did the commissioner. He was a radio announcer, disc jockey, and an actor. Also, the female characters were performed by she was an actress named Jane Roberts. She was a theater actress and worked at WCFL as a traffic reporter, and she did the voices of that, and she was very talented. She also played Chickenman's mother, Mildred Harbor. Also, her mother's oldest friend, Emma Luckner, and Emma's single daughter, Sadie. Okay. Chickenman also had a rogues gallery. He had villains just like Batman or like Superman or Wonder Woman. They include, I'll read them off to you. One include the Choker, the Hummer, the Chicken Plucker, the Dog Lady, Big Clyde Crushman, the Bear Lady, the very diabolical Rodney Farber. I'm reading these off because maybe people would remember, the characters. And the couple from Shticked. It's like from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Remember that? And that stood for Secret Henchmen to Injure Crime Killers. And he would drive in his yellow Chickenman. Chickenman would roam around Midland City in his yellow crime-fighting car, also known as the Chicken Coop. He had a chicken cave, like Batman had a bat cave, and it was like similar to that. It's kind of funny. It really was. And sometimes Mildred Harbor filled in when Chickenman was busy. She filled in as a super heroine. Also, there's the maternal marauder. Also, is the masked mother. So anyway, this is funny. I've listened to a couple episodes. I loved it. It really is funny. He was a very talented man, and I love superheroes. I love comic books, adventures. It's almost like to a T. It's like with Batman with the camp. It's identical like that. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, right now I'm going to play the introduction and the ending of the radio serial Chickenman. When I come back, I'll talk a little bit more about Dick Orkin. Okay, so sit back and listen to that. Thank you, everyone.
Now, another exciting episode in the life of the most fantastic crime fighter the world has ever known. Be listening tomorrow for another exciting episode in the life of the most fantastic crime fighter the world has ever known.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the introduction and the ending of Chickenman. Walk, 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 walk. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. I love saying that. Sorry. Okay, as for Dick Orkin, he paired up with, I forgot the man's name. Well, I'll think of it. Don't worry about it. I'll think of something. Anyway, let's see. So, he left WCFL, I think around 1968, 69, something like that. And then he headed to Hollywood. He went to Los Angeles and did some writing, for television shows. And then the show Chickenman was resurrected in 1977 on the Loop. I didn't listen to that. It was distributed syndication like that. So that was kind of cool like that. Oh, the band's name he worked with is Bert Birdies. That's his name. I think that's how you say his name like that. Also, Dick Orkin also appeared on a short-lived variety series that starred Tim Conway, and that was from 1980. Yeah, he appeared on camera and did skits, with Tim Conway and other people. The show didn't last very long, so that's a shame. And so whenever people think of Dick Orkin or WCFL, they think about Chickenman. That's amazing like that. Like I said before, I listened to a couple of episodes, and it was great. It really was. And let's see, what else did he do? He did a lot of things. Let's see what he did. Okay, like I said before, he had his own ad production company called the Famous Radio Ranch. He did that. And you probably heard commercials on television, maybe in Chicago, maybe not, maybe in the LA area, I would think. So I'm not exactly sure like that. And so unfortunately, he passed away on December 24th, 2017. Yeah, that's about 4 years ago. Wow, that's amazing. That's so sad. I think they announced the news of his death on Facebook by his daughter. Yeah, so like that. So if you want to listen to Chickenman, you can listen on YouTube. He made an LP. He recorded an LP with I think compiled like I don't know if it's all the episodes. Maybe one of the best episodes, I would assume. So you can find it on eBay. You can, if you'd like. So, if you want to relive that crazy time in the 60s, and you need some escapism, listen to Chickenman. Okay. So that's great. All right, so I guess that's it. He's done some other things, but I can't think on the top of my head. But once I find it, I'll mention it. But right now, I'm going to talk about the Ivanhoe Restaurant/Theater, and this was very interesting, because I use on Banana Chicagoland. I always post from time to time about this restaurant. And it's very memorable to a lot of people who have lived here and who still do in Chicago. And what's unique about this place is the building is shaped like a castle, like you were back in medieval England, like that. And I passed by it maybe once or twice when I was younger. I drove around, or I think I took the bus one time, to visit somebody, and I saw it, and I go, wow, what's a castle doing here in the Lakeview area of Chicago? It's kind of neat like that. All right, so here's the history of the Ivanhoe Theater, also the restaurant. There were two brothers. They opened the restaurant in the 1920s. I don't know their names, but that was during the time of Prohibition. And they down in the basement, like the catacombs, was like a speakeasy. That's what they said. And the menu specialized in like German and European dishes, like that. And according to Jeffrey Bear, who works at Channel 11, it was described as inexpensive but nice. Also, the restaurant's name came from the famous 19th century novel set in England in the 12th century, Ivanhoe, written by Sir Walter Scott. I remember the TV series They used to show that early in the early days, way before. And there was a movie. I think it came out in 1958. I think Elizabeth Taylor was in that movie. I saw that a long time ago. I don't think Family Classics showed it. Maybe they did. With Fraser Thomas. Maybe. I'm not sure, but they did show it Channel 9 numerous times on the air. Anyway, there was like the catacombs. It was like a subterranean realm that you would go down the bottom, and I think you would enter into an elevator, and it was like a sliding wall or something like that. And that was fun, according to some people. And it was kind of rustic, and there was like stalactites and bones embedded in the walls, and it was like, and the elevator was so cramped, like that, and people were very entertained. They really were. It's like you were back in the like in the ancient times, in England, like with the dungeons and all that, and also. Now, in 1966, the son of the original owners took over the business and turned it into a theater. They still had the restaurant, and I think they chopped it in half, and made it. It was a theater in a round, or rather a square, where the seats were. It was like four sides of the stage where you could see, and he brought in. Entertainment. Like, for example, like plays, comedy plays or dramatic plays. They didn't get famous people at first. I think they hired somebody from Broadway, and they brought in he entice famous movie stars or TV actors to perform there, and they did. And so that was a huge hit, and that was great. That was wonderful, like that. And the food was still good, according to some people. Sometimes it had sometimes they had a play, but it didn't work out. Sometimes they were bombs, sometimes they were successful, sometimes they would close the show, and then they would bring in another show like that. And then in the 1980s, the theater was chopped in half to an amphitheater, and then the restaurant became the Gold Standard Liquors and Chalet Cheese Shop, and I had it down in the basement like that, in the catacombs like that. Then they brought in. Turn it not just for plays. They had concert acts, and Dolly Parton performed. I think who else? I think Meatloaf performed there. Ozzy Osbourne performed. I'm not sure. And comedy acts too. Like David Steinberg or anybody. Not just so that helped a little like that. So that's great. That's wonderful. Then the theater closed for good in 2001. Then Benny's took over. They had Benny's open previously, I believe, and they took the entire space, the entire castle, the liquor store, that is. And then so Ivanhoe was gone. And that was it. So it's not, now it's a Benny's liquor store. They retained the catacombs downstairs, and they still have events, like maybe wine and cheese tasting or parties, events like that. So that's kind of cool. It's like that. One of these days, I want to go see it. I want to go there and take a look around, because I don't know, it's historical. It sounds fascinating to me like that. I don't know if I can enter the catacombs. Maybe. Usually, if they don't have nothing planned or nothing is at the moment, they have an event. maybe the doors are closed or you can't enter. This is a shame. I would like to do a tour. Just look around. That'd be awesome. Okay. All right. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I said. I talked about radio voice actor Dick Orkin, also known as Chickenman. I'm not going to cluck. I promise. And the Ivanhoe Restaurant/Theater on the northwest side. On the north, I keep saying northwest side. It's on the north side of Chicago. Oh, the address of the place was 3000 North Clark Street, and it was on the corner of Wellington Avenue. Just, it would be terrible for me not to mention that. So, yeah, if you're in the neighborhood or you come visit Chicago, check it out. You'd be fascinated. I would be. I really would. Okay. So this program will be published later on this afternoon, wherever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever podcasts are available. Hit subscribe. It'll notify you for the latest episode being downloaded. And you can listen. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Please subscribe to that. Also, it'll be posted on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. Also on Instagram and Threads, that new social media account that's been around now for 2 weeks. Like that. And also be on my blog, VanChicagoland.blog. You can check that out. Okay. I will do another episode. I don't think I'll do it Tuesday. I don't think I'll have time. I don't think so. I have to go to the doctor. And I got some things to do. So probably next weekend I will have that. That will be episode 240. Getting close to 250 soon. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I had a wonderful time talking. I hope you enjoyed the show. And here's bye-bye for me. And here's Ray Rayner with a little traveling music saying bye, bye, bye. So long, everyone. Take care.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.